Now look at this picture. This is Mike and this is Peter. They aren't the same. They have some differences according to their heights. We can compare between them by using the adjectives tall and short. So we can say Mike is taller than Peter. Peter is shorter than Mike. Now here we have an elephant and a cat. We want to compare between them by using the adjectives strong, heavy, and small. So we can say the elephant is stronger than the cat. The elephant is heavier than the cat. The cat is smaller than the elephant. Now here we have two cars. The white car and the red car. Look at their prices. The price of the white car is 90,000 Qatari riyals and the price of the red car is 70,000 Qatari riyals. Now we want to compare between them by using the adjective expensive. We can say the white car is more expensive than the red car. Now look at this picture. We have here three boys. We have Colin, Tom, and Billy. We want to compare Billy with Colin and Tom. It means that we want to compare one person with a group. And we want to use the adjective fast. So we can say Billy is the fastest of all. Now look at this picture. This is Omar and this is a group of young men. Now we want to compare Omar with this group by using the adjective fat. So we can say Omar is the fattest of all. I read many stories. Cinderella is one of them. Now I want to compare Cinderella's story with all the stories I read by using the adjective interesting. We can say Cinderella is the most interesting story I've read. Comparison of adjectives are used to compare differences between people or objects. We have two kinds of comparison. The first one is comparative and the second one is superlative. Now we use comparative adjectives to compare differences between two persons or two objects. So we say Mike is taller than Peter. Notice here in this example we use the adjective tall. Tall is a short adjective. It contains only one syllable. So we add er at the end of tall to form the comparative. But if the adjective is long, for example beautiful, we use more plus adjective to form the comparative. For example, we say more beautiful. Don't forget that we use a key to refer to the comparative, that is than. So we say shorter than, stronger than, more interesting than. Now let's talk about superlative adjectives. We use superlative adjectives to compare one person with two or three persons or with a group of people, or to compare one object with a group of objects. We form the superlative adjectives by adding the plus adjective plus est if the adjective is only one syllable. For example, we say the tallest, the shortest. But if the adjective is more than one syllable, like expensive, we use the most plus adjective. For example, the most expensive, the most interesting, the most beautiful. When we use superlative adjective, we use a key to refer to it, that is the. Now let's read the information box. Remember that we compare things in these different ways. The white trainers are the cheapest of all the trainers. The red ones are more expensive than the white ones, but they are cheaper than the green ones. The green ones are the most expensive of them all. Remember that we compare things in these different ways: good, better, best; bad, worse, worst. Now I will give you some minutes to do this exercise. Correct the adjectives in brackets. Now let's answer the questions. Number 1. Omar is the most intelligent student in the class. Number 2. English language is easier than Italian language. Number 3. The red dress is the most beautiful one in the shop. Number 4. The Nile is the longest river in the world. Number 5. Sami is better than Ali in Arabic. Number 6. Science is more difficult than history. Please check your answers. Now let's do exercise number 2. Complete the statements. Use the adjectives in brackets. In this exercise, you have 3 jackets with different colors and different prices. Have a look at the picture, then compare between the jackets by using the adjectives in brackets. I will give you some minutes to do this exercise. Now let's start. The green jacket is larger than the gray one, but it is smaller than the brown one. Number 2. The green jacket is cheaper than the brown one, but it is more expensive than the gray one. Number 3. The gray jacket is the smallest of the 3 jackets, and it is also the cheapest of them. Now look at these examples. The first one, Sami is as clever as Adnan. Notice that here we are going to compare between 2 persons. We have Sami and Adnan, and we want to use the adjective clever to compare between them. So we can use the expression as plus adjective plus as to say that they are the same. Sami is as clever as Adnan. They are the same. Okay. Now number 2. Sami is not as good at football as Adnan. Notice this sentence also. We want to compare between Sami and Adnan by using the adjective good. But do you think that they are the same? Sami is as good as Adnan at football. Do you think that they are the same? No, they aren't the same. They are different. So we use not as plus adjective plus as. Now notice the last one. Huda is more beautiful than Nadia. We often use not as plus adjective plus as instead of the comparative form. Here we have the comparative form, more beautiful than. Instead of that, we are going to use not as adjective as. So we can say that Nadia is not as beautiful as Huda. Now read the sentences in exercise 3 silently, then take the best way to complete the statements. I will give you some minutes to do this exercise. Now, let's do it together. Look at the sentences again. Take the best way to complete the statements. Number 1. We use as plus adjective plus as to say that 2 things are the same in the meaning of the adjective. Number 2. We use not as plus adjective plus as to say that 2 things are different in the meaning of the adjective. Number 3. We often use not as plus adjective plus as instead of a comparative form. Omar is older than Ahmed. Ahmed is not as old as Omar. Now let's do exercise number 4. Rewrite the statements with as or not as. The first example is done for you. Amira is not as good at English as Maha. I will give you some minutes to do this exercise. Okay, now let's start. Number 1. Omar is good at basketball and Ahmed is good too. Omar is as good at basketball as Ahmed. Number 2. The red trainers and the green ones are smart. The red trainers are as smart as the green ones. Number 3. Ahmed is better than the other players in grade 6. The other players in grade 6 aren't as good as Ahmed. Number 4. Ahmed is going to be taller than Omar. Omar is not going to be as tall as Ahmed. Please check your answers. Now let's do this exercise together. Rewrite the statements with as or not as. Number 1. Fatima is tidy and Selma is tidy too. Fatima is as tidy as Selma. Number 2. Omar is stronger than Basim. Basim is not as strong as Omar. Number 3. Basim is better than Ahmed at drawing. Ahmed is not as good as Basim at drawing. Thanks for listening. I hope you've understood the lesson.